Welcome to the Flip and Castle podcast.
All right, everyone, welcome back. We've got some pretty intense news coming out of Florida in the wake of Hurricane Milton, and we had to dive into this one.
Yeah, things are getting a little heated down there, even beyond the obvious damage from the storm.
That's right. It seems like a political storm is brewing over how the relief efforts are being handled, and a lot of you have sent in clips asking us to get to the bottom of it.
Exactly. And, it's a sensitive subject, but we're going to look at it with a critical eye, as always.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in. Basically, we're seeing these accusations that FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, is discriminating against Floridians based on their political beliefs, specifically if they support Donald Trump.
Yeah, Governor DeSantis is really pushing this narrative that FEMA is intentionally withholding aid from Trump supporters.
And he's pointed to some specific incidents, like there's this news report that a FEMA supervisor was overheard telling relief workers to avoid homes displaying Trump signs.
Wow, okay, so right off the bat, we got to ask, is there any hard evidence to back up such a serious claim? Like, what's the source on this? Is it just hearsay, or do we have something more concrete to go on?
Well, it's mentioned in a couple of different news articles we received, and one of them even quotes a FEMA spokesperson confirming that they did instruct their workers to stay in groups, follow procedures, and use de-escalation tactics.
Interesting. So that kind of suggests that FEMA was already anticipating some potential for conflict, or at least some tense situations out there in the field.
Right. And it does make you wonder, why were those instructions given? Was it purely for safety reasons in a chaotic post-disaster zone? Or could it be that they were worried about potential political clashes?
Yeah, that's a key question, isn't it? Were they trying to avoid situations where their workers might be seen as favoring one political group over another, or maybe even trying to prevent confrontations between residents with opposing views? I mean, we have to remember, emotions run high after a disaster like this.
Absolutely. And then on top of that, we have these reports from FEMA employees saying they witnessed at least 20 homes with Trump signs being passed over for aid.
20 homes, that's significant, but it also begs the question, how many homes were they helping overall? I mean, 20 might seem like a lot, but if they're dealing with thousands of damaged homes, is that really a statistically significant number?
Good point. And were these homes maybe bypassed for other reasons? Like, were they in areas that were hard to reach? Was the damage less severe? We need more context to really understand what happened there.
Right. We can't just assume that every house with a Trump sign that didn't get immediate aid was deliberately ignored for political reasons. There could be a lot of logistical factors at play.
It really reminds me of the controversy around FEMA's response to Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. There were accusations of discrimination then, too, and a lot of questions about whether aid was distributed fairly.
Exactly. And it highlights this persistent challenge of ensuring equitable aid distribution during emergencies. It's even tougher in our current political climate where everything seems to be so polarized.
Yeah. How do you prevent bias from creeping into these life-or-death situations?
Yeah.
How do you make sure everyone gets the help they need regardless of who they voted for? These are tough questions, but they're important ones.
Absolutely. And, it really underscores the need for transparency and accountability within organizations like FEMA. They need to be able to demonstrate that they're operating fairly and that their decisions are based on need, not on political affiliation.
Well said. So after taking this deep dive, what are your thoughts? Do you think there's enough evidence to suggest intentional discrimination, or do you think it's more likely a case of miscommunication and logistical challenges? What other questions does this raise for you? Hit us up in the comments and let's keep this conversation going.